2B, HB, 2H pencils. What's the deal with the pencils and the different numbers? All right, so we've had some aggressive, expressive shading. Now I want to show you a shading technique that's the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm going to sketch in that egg and that shadow. Right, that's what I'm working with here. This is very lightly the egg and the shadow with the 2B. Now I'm going to just, in lieu of time, because this method takes a lot of time to do, I'm going to just draw a sample section right about here, right, from the darkness out here to the light. So it will be like a little strip of that. So what we do is isolate and pre-sketch very lightly where everything's going to be, and then with a nice sharp pencil and a non-directional line, twisting and rolling and keeping it sharp, we start in the darkest of areas and we go out and we reach toward the light. And I am going to speed this up for the sake of time and memory on my device here, because many artists will spend an hour per square inch doing this. So remember I said the opposite end of the spectrum. So what we have here is it's going out, reaching and tapping and very lightly. So it's very dense and overlapped here. And what I mean by non-directional is, let me blow it up several times. It's like, that's what it looks like 700 times enlarged. But here we're doing it really small, microscopically. And 2B is the softest graphite. Let's say that egg is supposed to be about right there. All right, so we're up here in the darkest. It's going to be, there's going to be no white showing. All those fibers will be covered up. Nice sharp pencil. And we cover carefully, and we hit all those little holes. And I think you're starting to see it gradually goes from dark, it fades way out here into light. You might be thinking, gosh, that's too detailed, Stanley. Why can't I just use the blending stump and just swish that out? Well, there you go. You can choose. I want to show you. I'll report, you decide. The aggressive, expressive approach, and then here the really detailed, precise approach. Painstakingly detailed approach. And the 2B is soft. So continue that and perfect that. And then we come along with the HB, which is harder graphite. And we draw over that. We draw over everything. In a non-directional line, starting from the dark, reaching to the light, and we overdraw that and we extend past what we've drawn. In fact, I think I made this patch too big, but any smaller would be hard to see with the camera. So we fill in those holes, and if you notice, you get this lustrous sheen. And you can even scrutinize that sheen to make sure it's an even sheen. Artists will use magnifying glasses like the cross-stitch people in embroidery glasses, so that they get this really incredible perfection. The goal is to make this look like airbrush. Right? And we draw over everything a non-directional line like this, very small and tiny, sharp pencil, and we extend out and over and past there. And we do not use this on top of that. We're just using the pencils, those three pencils together. Non-directional line, sharp pencil, tapping, fill in the holes, overlap. So soft graphite first, medium graphite second, and then the hardest graphite third. Now keep in mind, this is all sped up. You would go at a very painstakingly slower process. You might even work smaller. And And you can feel the difference. The 2H is much harder, less graphite is put down, but it also scores into the paper more. You see that? See those marks that it's scoring into the paper? And if you do it this way, you want to scrutinize that so that those lines make sense and conform to what you want them to do. And we draw over this. And you might go, gosh, Stanley, we wanted to draw a little slower and do a little more detail, but not that much. Well, all right, so we repeat this, non-directional line on top of everything. And what that does is it gives it a beautiful, lustrous, like a jewel-like surface. So sure, it's a shadow, it's going to make a form, but the substance itself can have this incredible quality. And what you're doing here is you're going, number 1 is the 2B, then you draw over that with the HB, and then you draw over that with the 2H. So it goes from soft, this is the soft range, into hard. And the key is softer there gets pushed down by the harder, more dense graphite. And this goes all the way up to a 9B, which is your ebony pencil, and this goes all the way up to a 9H, which is super hard to see. It almost doesn't make a mark when you go to the 9H. Not on our supply list, but if you ever have one or see one, that's what they're for, and that's how people use them. No rules for art. That's just one method that people like to do. So you can consider that for your egg drawing number 2 or elaboration. By no means is it required, but you might like to try that. We have lots of options.